Okay. Make sure you have your block and your strap. And if it's convenient for you to have a wall today, let's use a wall as well. So today is going to be about starting off at least with neck and shoulders. So I want to talk a little bit about how necks can balance our body in space a little bit and why we work on the rest of our body so much, but we can also address the neck a little bit specifically. So if your pelvis, for instance, is out of balance and you have one side that's high and one side that's low, your head is usually trying to counterbalance some of what's going on there. So we begin to see a head tilt. And then those of us spend so much time often on our phone or computer these days that this position of our head is forward and it's just really heavy. So that changes what's going on in the upper back. And so as we align the pelvis and align the spine to get our head to be upright, also if there's an imbalance in the shoulders, those muscles connect, like that upper trap connects right into the area that supports the head and neck. So it really is all connected, but I do want to work on some of the neck specifically today. So start with your feet pointed straight ahead. Take a deep breath and just feel your body get centered on the ground. Make sure your feet are right underneath your hip bones. So look down. And then take a deep breath. Deep breath in and exhale. Good. Feel the belly move in that east to west direction. Big breath in and out. Nice. And then we'll actually start with a head tilt today. So bring your ear over to your shoulder and just allow some length to happen through that side. And then come up and over to the other side. And just open some space. Kind of like windmills, just only at the neck. So we're moving in this coronal plane, like if you had a crown on. And just explore where are some places between your neck or your neck and shoulder where you might notice some tension. Reach your arm out. Let that head tilt in the opposite direction of the arm. And just open that space. And come on up. And the other side. Over. Reach. Feeling your whole arm lengthen away from you as you tilt your head away. And come on up. And now just go forward and back. So tuck your chin, let your head slide forward. And coming up. And then bring your ears over your shoulder and then just look up. So going into that little bit of extension. Now, often with necks, we see an extension demand in the wrong way in two ways. People can have hyperextension in their neck because their head is forward, but then they have to keep their eyes even with the horizon. So there's still, even though their head's forward, an overextension of some of those muscles, which still tightens down some of the front and squeezes the back. So as you go down, chin tuck, lengthen the back of your neck, feel that open. And then as you bring your head back, bring your ears over your shoulders and just look up to the point where it feels okay for you. And then come back to neutral. And then bring just the center of your head right over your shoulders and just rotate to one side and back to the center and rotate to the other side. And back to the center. One more time. We're looking for just a rotation without any slide. Excellent. And now take it into a bit of a head roll all the way around. Just bringing some, like, motion is lotion into those joints and reversing. Nice. Right into your shoulders, into a shoulder roll, up and back and around. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze into the middle of your back as you roll them down your back, away from you, your body. Up, back, and around. Moving the upper back changes what's happening in the neck and the low back. Getting your shoulder blades to wrap around your rib cage. Then go the other way. Squeeze them back. Bring them up and around. Pinch and lift. Squeeze. Lift. And backwards one more time. Up, back. Squeeze them around. Good. So you also have muscles on the front side of your body and the back side of your body that work, like in the book Anatomy Trains, as a line of fascia that controls how balanced you are between the front and back, if you're tucked or if you're overextended or what your head's doing that way. So let's begin to affect the position of your head just by working the balance between the front and the back. So I want you to tighten up your thighs, really squeeze your thighs, lift your kneecaps up. And then if you're doing that really well, you should be able to feel the quad squeeze, not just around the knee, but all the way up at the thigh, right up here. And then that may change your ability to bend forward, but keep the thighs super, super, super contracted. Now, the only reason I would not have someone do this exercise if they had active sciatic pain or they knew that flexion was an issue in their back. So if you know that, you have some, like a herniated disc that has radiating pain down your leg, please skip this one. Otherwise, tighten up the thighs, squeeze all the way up the thigh, and then just allow your body, and it's early, allow your body just to hang over. Let your head drop. Let your body go. Keep your thighs super, super tight, not just around the knee, but all the way up to that thigh. Feel your belly muscles start to contract. Those are the muscles on the front side of your body. So legs straight, knees straight, kneecaps lifted, and just go to where your body wants to stop. And maybe that will slowly come down. Maybe you feel the muscles on the back side of your whole body start to open a little bit. Take a breath into this back side of your waistline. Thighs super, super, super tight. Feel your belly muscles. Those are your spinal flexors. We're in spinal flexion happening right now. So let your belly muscles start to activate all the way, like pubic bone to belly button to sternum. Let that whole thing squeeze as your body opens up. Feeling the calves and the hamstrings start to release. Let your head drop. Maybe you finally find your hip muscles as your pelvis rolls over the top of your thigh bones. And then reverse it. Start to engage. So thighs are still engaged. Start to engage the muscles on the back side all the way at the glutes. And as your glutes engage, tuck your tailbone and begin to roll all the way up. Nice. Now we're going to do a different kind of forward fold. This time, do it more as a hip hinge. So now bend your knees, keep your back straight, reach to the floor, and you'll decide one of these bends you may like better than the other. Now we're just moving at the level of the pelvis and the back is staying really stable. So you'll get more backside, quads a little bent. And then once again, let your head and neck go. Find your butt muscles, pull down to bring you back to standing. Nice. One more each way. So knees contracted, muscles around the knee, almost like you're trying to hyperextend your legs or get them to straight. And just see, how do they feel from one side to the other? Then if you're doing it really well, you should feel the contraction all the way up towards your hips. So go ahead and squeeze your thighs so much that the kneecap lifts, the knee maybe hyperextends a little bit. So quads are knee extenders. That's part of what they do. And now find your belly muscles. So let your shoulders round, find your belly, let your head drop. And once again, just slowly, slowly, slowly pulling your sternum toward your belly button toward your pubic bone, like those are all moving kind of closer together. Big breath into your back body. Let your head go. Let your shoulders completely relax. Keep your thighs tight though. Keep those muscles around the thighs and knees lifted. All the way into flexion. Till the pelvis rolls over the top of the thigh bones. And then reverse it. Tailbone draws down toward the floor. Thighs stay tight. Hamstrings can kick in. And then finally, your back muscles can start to pull you into extension. Shoulders on your back. Nice. And then one more bend with your knees bent in a hip hinge, just to differentiate those again. Bend your knees, stick your butt out. Now your back is basically straight. Hip hinge, taking it all the way over, back stays straight and stable. And then come on up. Butt muscles engage. Go, go, gadget butt muscles. Pull you up. Excellent. So that essentially we're playing with the dynamic tension in your body, the muscles on the front and the back of your body, and just getting them to shift from the back of your heels all the way up to the back of your neck, and from the scalenes, really the front muscles and sternocleidomastoid, all the way to your toes. So now come back to that tension place. Pull your fingers in for a set of arm circles. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Bring your arms out to the sides. Keep that squeeze low. Relax your stomach. And circle forward, 40 circles. So you can imagine if you had one side of those muscles tighter than the other, how that could pull you into a rotation, whether that's on the front side of your body or the back side. But whenever there's a difference, then often you get into a twist, and then flexion or extension doesn't happen well. Go ahead and bring your arms up, squeeze your shoulder blades together again. Relax your belly, circle backwards, 40 circles. Elbows super straight. Find those muscles, arm bone hugging into the shoulder, shoulder into the spine. You can feel how that affects all the way down to your low back. I just got a little pop in my low back as I said that. And release. Nice. Okay, now let's check that cow's face exercise. So one arm this way and then this way. If you can't get close, that's okay. Just grab somewhere in your shirt like this. But just notice where you are. You could also grab your yoga strap. And then move your ribs out of the way a little bit. Let them just come forward for right now. And then just play with your neck. Lean one way, lean the other way. And as we change the position of the shoulders and the upper back, we can move into the neck. I've got some popcorn in there as I move it around. Okay, release your arms and then go the other way. And for most people, that right arm has a harder time coming under like that. The position of the body, rib cage, the way we breathe, or the rotation that we have, or how often we use this right arm changes how tight that structure is. And until we move it into a better position where those muscles can just let go, it's likely to stay tighter. That tightness affects what's going on through our whole neck and shoulder area, and even in the middle back. So go ahead and grab maybe just your shirt or all the way to your fingers. And then once you get it there, see if you can just move your neck around a little bit. Remember, the nerves that supply the power supply to those muscles are going from your neck down into the shoulders, arms, chest, heart, lungs, all of that area. Go ahead and release and just rotate your arms a little bit like you're opening and closing a doorknob. Out and in. Shoulders stay down and back, so don't let the shoulders go with it. Shoulders stay down and back. Just the arm bone gets to do that rotation. Excellent. Okay. If you have a wall, use it. If you don't have a wall, just do these in space. It's okay. But since I have a wall, I'm going to come back to it. Feet pointed straight ahead. And I'm just going to bring my arms out to the wall with my head, shoulders, and butt all touching the wall. If you're just out in space, just take a step here like this and just press back like you're pressing your arms behind you through like Jello. So there's a little resistance. Press all the way back like you're trying to touch your arms together. If you're using the wall, just press into the wall. So dynamic tension, the front and the back of the body is balanced because we have a wall as a reference. Head, shoulders, and middle back touching the wall, and butt, low back away from the wall. Press your whole arm into the wall and release 10 times. And feel the balance between the right and left shoulder. And see if you can get the same muscles to activate. Good. As the shoulders move down and back now, your head's going to tip forward. So tuck your chin and then let your head slide forward. Now, for most people with herniated discs and things in their neck, this position is actually more comfortable. But for some people, it's pinchy. So if you started getting tingles in your hands or anything like that, that would be an indication to stop this exercise. For everyone else, chin down, then do those 10 presses again. And just notice, does that change the muscles that want to activate in your middle back? Can you still find muscles behind your shoulder to do that? And head up. Now, palms down. So again, if you're just in space, again, try to press your arms like they're going through Jello and try to touch your hands towards each other. If you're just at the wall, press into the wall. Press and release and feel what are the muscles on each side that are activating. And then 10 more, chin tucked, head forward, press and release. And then bring your head up and imagine there's a button behind you and just press into the wall. Press and release. If you're in space, you could take your hands behind you like this and just apply a little bit of resistance back your head into your hands so that the back of your neck turns on. press, release, press, release. Okay, one more here at the wall. You're going to turn sideways, take your hand, and like a one-arm bridge, balance against the wall with your body leaning into the wall. If you don't have a wall accessible, you can just do these. We're going to do one arm reaching over your head like this, and the other one can just be down. If you're at the wall, lean into the wall, feel the shoulder blade press towards your spine, and then with this other arm, reach and lower in an arm glide 10 times, all the way up, all the way down. You could even turn your hand so the back of your hand is toward the computer and the palm of your hand is toward you, and then come over and up. Just play with that different angle. Stability on one side, scapula glide on the other. And then switch sides, lean into the wall. Feel the shoulder blade hug toward your spine. And then also a bit of a press from your spine back out to your hand so that that's just stable. And then this arm, 10 glides up and down. And release. Nice work. Go ahead and put your legs up over your chair or bench and come into static back. So after all of that stuff standing, let's just take a moment to let your whole body settle to the ground. So you can put your legs up over your chair, get as close in as you can so your legs are mostly at 90. Give your body a little traction by just taking your hands and pressing onto your thigh bones so the thighs move back into the hip socket, or the leg bones move back into the hip socket. And then you could do a couple little pelvic tilts, just even all of that out. Focus on a few breaths, feeling the breath move in and out of your chest and belly as your body just settles to the floor. So when we come into this position, we've been standing, which hopefully you have a neutral pelvis. When you come down like this and you put your legs up, it relaxes the hip muscles and it allows the pelvis to tip slightly backwards. And that slightly backwards tip has an effect that goes up the whole spine, even into the head and neck. So we're going after a little more thoracic extension here. So interlace your fingers, pull your arms over your head to the floor. Hopefully that work that we did already around the shoulder blade lets this just be easy and open. Shoulder blades sliding up and back up to the ceiling. Let's do 10 of these. Some people like this better with their hands apart. If you've had a shoulder injury, maybe one shoulder works way harder than the other if your hands are together. So you decide. And 10. Good. Grab your strap. You can just hold it in your hands. And I have my arms pretty wide, so wider than my shoulders.
And I'm just gonna pull out. So once again, I'm finding the muscles around my shoulder blades. As I pull my arms apart, abduct the arm, that's gonna make some muscles in your middle back work. Let's do 10 pulls straight out like that. Press, release. And it's not really moving, but you should be able to find muscles around the shoulder and upper back. Again, that should change what's happening all the way into your neck. Good, make it a diagonal now. So turn one hand almost down towards your knee and the other one up, and then pull apart. That's going to change the muscles that are working. Pull, feel the muscles that you're asking to work. Feel them actually engage on the back side of your body and release. Switch. And then all the way over, and then pull down like a lat pull, like as if that was a lat bar. Pull down, elbows bent a little bit, and reach. Pull, reach. Awesome. Release that. And just feel your whole upper back for a moment. Hopefully, just being down like that feels pretty even in the pelvis. Neutral to fairly flat to the floor, low back relaxed. And then go ahead and press your block away. Let's just warm up your wrists a little bit before we load them up. We're going to do some butt and hip work now that we have our head and neck and shoulders in really good alignment. So just roll your hands. You can take your hands, point them back towards you, so palms out, and just gently work into your fingers. You don't have to, if they go easily all the way down to the floor, you can go there, but just first open the fingers nicely, coming in and out of that. And then maybe take it a little more into the wrist. So forearms have to open, kind of like the forearms are a little bit like your lower leg, right? The muscles, they both have like band of tissue in the ankle, the retinaculum, and here the carpal tunnel, where things have to flow through, gently glide through to be able to let flexion happen. There needs to be a balance between strength and flexibility so that you have arches of your wrists and hands so that that all works well. Okay, now go ahead and come to your hands and knees. And just feel how that load of the shoulder is a little bit different. From there, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, sink them down, sink your chest to the floor, and then push them all the way off your back. Go into that rounded upper back position. Squeeze all the way down and just feel after all that work in the upper middle back, how is that? How well does it move? How well do the shoulder blades glide into retraction and protraction? And then come down onto your elbows. Put your elbows where your hands just were. Put your hands into the golfer's grip and then pull your forearms away from each other and draw your hips back. And that's going to open the shoulders a little bit more. Maybe that's different between the right and left side. Let your back just sink down, pull back, let your head go. One more breath. And then come back up and come up. Let's go into your hips. So stable low belly. You can feel your low belly can hang all the way to the floor, or you can pull it up and in a little bit to bring it to a neutral position. Go ahead and be neutral here. And then with your right leg, go into a donkey kick. Knee down to the floor and then up, down, and lift. 10 times. Then stay with that leg. Let your ankle cross over the other ankle. So crossing together. Now you're going to lift that knee straight up with the knee high, coming down and lift. Also 10 times. That hip and that external rotation is going to make your glute work a little harder. And then just out and in again. This time, reaching straight back behind you, in towards your chest, straight back behind you. Just moving that hip, flexion, extension. And last one on this side, into a fire hydrant. So just lifting that right leg straight out and down 10 times. Stable everywhere else. Getting that outer hip to lift. And switch. Donkey kicks. Up and down. And then cross the ankle over the other ankle. Lift and lower 10 times. Keep breathing. And then just flex and extend. Knee in toward your chest, up toward the sky. More of a straight leg. And a fire hydrant. Excellent. Cats and dogs. Tie it all together. Round and arch. And then have a seat with your legs out wide. Just feel your hips after that work, having to open a little bit there. Pull your toes back, tighten up your thighs. Feel the muscles around your knee once again, just activate all the way up that line. Sitting as tall as you can. Now, if you're way back here, pull one leg in. Or let's just everybody do that today. Pull one leg in. We're still going to work on neck, shoulders, and upper back here. So we're going to go into a quadratus lumborum stretch. Hook your hand underneath your leg somewhere. Open up this side body, and then bring your shoulder onto your back. So the same kind of arm glide that we did before,
You're going to let that arm open toward your toes and let your head just totally go over, feeling the whole, will be probably your left side, just shorten, contracting on this underneath side and opening on this top side, from the hip to the rib cage to the shoulder, even to the top side of your neck. Find your breathing, stay present with your breath. Use your breath to allow the muscles of your torso to both contract on one side and let go on the other. You can press your foot down into the floor to give you a little more stability, but feel both butt cheeks still root down. Come on up. Switch. Nice. Just butt down into the ground, open shoulder, hook your hand underneath your calf, and open it up and breathe. From the shoulder to the rib cage, this whole side opening while this underside actually is contracting. So let it squeeze, squeezing down through that oblique. Open the side of your neck. Reach towards your toes. Take a breath in, expand the muscles in between your rib cage even more. And come up. Excellent. Onto the floor. Feet on the floor, knees bent, roll back. Pelvic tilts. Rolling your whole pelvis up and flat so that it moves you through your shoulders all the way to your neck. Feel the movement of the pelvis move the whole spine, all the way up, all the way down. All right, and then let's leave everything in neutral. So find your butt muscles, feel your pelvis come to a neutral place, which usually means hip bones to pubic bone just about level. If you feel on the front, shoulder blades gently relaxing. You can check between your pelvis and your rib cage, is that all stable? And then go ahead and lift your hips off the floor all the way up and down. 20 lifts. Feel the back side of your body work. You can gently press your head down into the floor to activate the back of your neck just a little bit here. I think that's about 7, 8, 10 more. And then grab your strap again. Place your knees inside of the loop of your strap. And then tighten that down so that it's fist width apart. And then pull out. And this time we will do 3 sets of 20 or a little more than a minute. Pull and release. Pull, release. Feel the muscles on the outside of your hips. So your abductors are your TFL and your glutes. And when those muscles kick in the prime movers of abduction, then the pelvis can level, the shoulders can relax, even your head and neck can let go, especially if there's some kind of rotation in the leg bone or the pelvis where one side of the abductors are not working as well or are lengthened because they're tipped, or the TFL on one side is short because you've got tight quad and tight hip, something that pulls your pelvis out of alignment. Being on the floor and doing your abductor presses just helps take all of that out. Levels the hip, puts the back in better alignment, squares the shoulders. Good, about 30 seconds left. Keep going, press, release. Feel both sides really activate well. Okay, press and hold out with a constant pressure. We're going to hold this for 1 minute. Keep that pressure out. Feel those abductors. Let them get tired on both sides. This is an exercise we often will use for people with knee pain. If you have knee that's rotated in or out, that's an indication some of these muscles are compensating in some way, and that just getting your abductors to work correctly will help to straighten out the knee and let the knee work more as a hinge. Is it getting tired on both sides? That's halfway. 30 more seconds, hang in there. Keep that pressure out there. Awesome. And release. Go ahead and remove your strap. Foot circles, point flexes. Pull that right leg in toward you. Shoulders down and back. Little curve in your neck. And circle 20 circles all the way around. Reverse. Point and flex. Switch sides. Pull it in. 20 circles. Hitting all of those numbers around the clock with your toes. Reverse. Point and flex. And then into a downward facing dog pose to tie it all together. Tuck your toes, pressing up and back. You decide, just like our forward fold, if knees back works better to help you get your upper back into a good position, then go ahead and bend your knees. If you can keep your low back and upper back in a pretty good spot, if as soon as you straighten your legs, your low back just goes into this rounding, then go back to knees bent and work on that line from your hands up to your hips. If that feels like you've got it, keep that little arch in your low back, and then even root your tailbone down toward your heels just a little bit.
Find balance between the back and the front of your body. Let it move through your calves, into your hips. And walk it in. Okay, I'm going to have you do that forward fold one more time. Let's do this straight leg version first. Just see if we're much more square, if that feels much easier. So feet pointed straight ahead, kneecaps lifted, thighs tight. And again, if you're doing this well, you should be able to find muscles all the way up to the top of the thigh, or at least mid thigh. And then go ahead and find your belly, flex over, and just see if that feels much easier now. Come up and do that hip hinging version. Take the thighs out of it, just hip muscles over and butt muscles back up. One more time for that one. Knees bent, hips, just hips, push your hips back, over, hips engaged. Then find your glutes, turn them on. Come back to standing. Awesome. How was that? Different? Better? Give me a thumbs up.
Much looser in my back.
Awesome. Okay. Come into whatever position you would like to be in for a short meditation today. On your back, out on the floor, seated, your choice. Okay. Find your breath. Now you've done this before a number of times, so see if you can quickly drop out of the thinking mind and just drop back into the awareness of this present moment and all that that encompasses for you. Your breathing, the sounds, the sensations. Just drop in. As a reminder, this place is always available. Whether you're doing anything in your life, driving or talking to someone else, all of the things that arise in this space of consciousness are just arising there. So having an awareness of the consciousness and not just of the thoughts that are there or the habit of the thoughts that take you or that you identify with, but instead of just dropping back to be the observer of what's arising. experience the vast space with which all things arise in. And if you notice a thought arising in that space, just notice it and let it go. Some of us can easily be in this expansive space, and some of us may need to follow the breath a little bit more consciously to just stay right here. So for all of us, let's follow the next 3 breaths and just experience all that is in those breaths. The temperature, the sensation, the space in your body that the breath fills and releases. I'm going to leave you just quiet for 2 minutes. And for these next 2 minutes, just imagine you're just beginning again and dropping back into that vastness. And you choose to follow your breath or just to be in the expanse, noticing whatever's arising in the moment. And as you slowly begin to surface, just invite the care and attention of me and the rest of this community to just be part of the essence that's with you today. We are all working to stay healthy and align our bodies and live with less limitations. And we continue to show up and support each other to do just that. It's pretty awesome. If you'd like to check in, please unmute yourself and just say a little something before we wrap up.